Hi guys! Sorry, it has been such a long time since my last YouTube video. I really have to apologize to all of you guys. Obviously, as you can tell, I have a really good relationship with procrastination. I also have an affair with commitment. And therefore, that's why it's taking me so long to push out these videos and actually get them to you. No, but seriously, obviously, as you guys know, I had a pretty extenuous, tumultuous summer the last 3 months, and so it kind of made me feel like unmotivated to really be regular, to really be scheduled, to really be frequent as I should be, and as I said I was going to be. And so that's why you haven't been seeing a lot of the videos, a lot of the content. But as we are kind of working to get back into that regular routine and to keep myself accountable for the things that I say, I definitely am trying to commit to you that I'll be much more regular from now on. So, it's not an apology really, but it's more so a promise. So keep looking out, and thank you for staying with me, and thank you for asking, like, oh my god, like, where are the videos, Dio? I'm like, da-da-da-da-da. That actually kind of keeps me going, you know what I mean? Obviously it makes me feel ashamed that I haven't been doing anything, but it also does keep me going, so thank you. So I'm happy that you're here today. You're gonna tune in on a new video, a new topic. So seeing that I'm back, and obviously I know that you're looking at this beautiful pashmina scarf throw I have over here on my couch. Isn't it nice? My friend Christian actually brought it back from Paris for me, so thanks Christian, and shout out to Christian Lay. But anyways, now that I'm back, I thought I would do something a little bit different. Like, we're gonna have a whole bunch of different videos on here, different topics, reviews for shows that is gonna be coming soon, I promise you. But I thought, why not do a little series from time to time? And I decided, I've been thinking a lot about dating lately. You might be asking why and how, because Dion, you don't even date. You're not dating anybody. You're single. And how be it that you come on a platform and tell us something that you're not even participating in. I know, that's what you're trying to say. But guess what? I still have my opinions, and I'm still gonna share them, and I feel like I download from a deep knowledge of my friends' past dating experiences, and I've read a lot of books and I've watched a lot of TV, and I think I can share my opinion. And so yeah, that's what I decided that this video is going to be about, obviously, and a couple other videos. So this video is it's referencing dating, but we're talking further in this video about preferences, okay? Obviously you go into Bumble, Tinder, Hinge, Plenty of Fish, Grindr, any type of dating app, okay? Dating social media interface. You obviously are always asked what your preferences are. And so, you say that, I prefer them to be this age, between this age and this age. I prefer them to be this tall. I prefer them to have black hair versus brown. I prefer them to have a job versus no job. All those kind of things. Preference, right? It's something that we all deal in this lifetime. It's a way of narrowing down what we like and what we want out of the next person, what we expect from somebody or something. And so I thought that this video could talk about dating, and I know that I'm gonna get a lot of flack from this video. I know that it's gonna be a very polarizing video. You're gonna either be it's a very you're on this side or this side. It's no kind of gray area, and I know that a lot of people will get frustrated and mad about this, and you'll have a difference of opinion, but hey, this is what these videos are for. So Today's topic is dating, and should ethnicity be a category under preference? Should ethnicity be a category under preference? Ooh, child, I know. I know this is gonna set some people off, but we gonna go there. So I have such an issue with ethnicity being a category under preference, and maybe it's because of who I am as a person. I personally like every ethnicity. I find beauty in absolutely every ethnicity. And so when I see it as a category under preference, I just don't get it. Like, I'm like, that should never be something that somebody should click on to, you know, find love. Because I think about love as like really such a colorless thing. I think that love like supersedes so many things. There's socio-economic status, your, you know, like you're obviously whether you're black or white, Asian, anything. I feel love just totally trumps all over that. And so I hate when that becomes like a category under preference. But I'm gonna take this video in a different direction, and I'm gonna talk about what I hate hearing in the dating world, and what I feel is completely detrimental, and it goes into a deeper conversation at the core of these individuals who feel this way, right? So we have a category, you know, ethnicity and blah, 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 under preferences and stuff. But then you also have a subset, a group of people in every culture who happen to cut off their nose to spite their face, basically. And so what I mean by that is that, like, you as a, and I'll use my ethnicity as example, right? I'm black. Obviously you can tell. I'm black, and for example purposes, I will say this next sentence. I'm black and I prefer not to date other black people. You sound like a moron. Like, you sound like a moron. That does not make sense to me. You know what I mean? I hate when I hear individuals say that. Like, I'll hear it in every culture, right? I'm Asian and I don't like to date other Asians. I prefer not to date other Asians. I prefer not to date people in the same ethnic background as me. And it just sounds so absurd, right? Because it's kind of like, okay, you're born in whatever ethnic cultural background you're born in, whatever skin color, etc. And you're born into a loving background experience where basically you get to grow with your family members, and your mom and dad and your cousins and brothers and sisters and grandparents and, you know, distant to near relatives teach you about what love should look like. Well, they should. Obviously, we know in some cases that other, you know, some cultures don't show forth the love that it should, like the way how it should be. But they teach you what love looks like, right? From the very moment that you leave the womb. You look at your parents and, you know, and for the most part, especially within the last, you know, when I was born, and I don't want to tell my age or anything, you're seeing a lot of, okay, it wasn't so many interracial relationships, right? So basically at that time, you're seeing two black people together. You're seeing two you know, Chinese people together. You're seeing two white people together. You're seeing two East Indian people together, right? So your parents, you look at them and you go, this is what love looks like, right? And so they raise you, you are around your family, and other people within your culture for the most part. And that's where you build the basis of your attraction, right? Now, going back to what I said at the beginning, if you are going on dating apps and, hey, I'm black and I'm saying I prefer to date black people only, that is completely fine, okay? And now I think you're probably thinking in your head, okay, Dion, but you just said that you just said earlier in the video that you don't like when ethnicity is placed under preference. I know that's what you're getting at, but that's completely okay to put that you prefer to date people within your own culture, right? That makes sense, obviously, right? Because you don't have to deal with so much of trying to get them to understand your cultural values, your heritage, language, food, all those kind of things. It's going to be very easy because it's like, okay, we're from the same background, right? So a lot of these things, you don't have to like go through the hoops and the hurdles that you would when you do an interracial relationship, right? Not saying that one is better than the other, not at all, but of course that makes sense to like date within your own culture, ethnicity, color, of course, right? The purpose of this video really is we're talking about those people who say out of their mouth that they don't want to date within their own culture, right? It doesn't make any sense, right? Because again, like I said, from the earlier onset of life, you learn what love looks like by basically looking at your parents, by basically looking at people within your culture, right? From the very humble beginnings, before you even come to maturity, you know what that looks like, right? And so I then have to go back and ask myself, okay, so what would lead these people to say something like that, right? Because every action is obviously caused by a greater reaction, a greater past trauma. So I thought that I would, do my due diligence, and I'm like, you know what? Let me kind of like break it down into like 3 different or 4 different things as to why people might end up saying things like that. Like, oh, I don't want to date somebody within my own culture, my background, ethnicity, color, etc. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? There's a reason as to why people do things they do. There's a reason why we create certain ideas in our head, of course. And one of the things that came to me was the Eurocentric standard of beauty. Obviously, I think that for the most part, everybody knows what the Eurocentric standard of beauty is. And if you haven't, and if you don't know what it is that the world, social media, magazines, fashion, makeup, etc., glamorizes and glorifies a Eurocentric standard of beauty, right? Which is usually predominantly people who are fairer skin, have particular features that are more petite, and oftentimes more than anything, they're white. Like, they're white, right? We can go into a whole diatribe of how that's shown in social media, but I think you get it, right? In our world today, in 2022, we're definitely seeing a lot more diversity, inclusion in so many different things, like, fashion, makeup, magazines, editorial, etc. We're definitely seeing that now. We definitely are. You're definitely seeing them kind of gear away from always, glorifying that standard of beauty and being like, no, there's beauty in darker skin over here. There's beauty in this culture's features. You know what I mean? There's beauty in this and this and that. So we are steering away from it, but at the same time, it's still that Eurocentric standard of beauty still governs the way how people view attraction and view things like success, etc. is success. Sometimes, you're looking for a partner that is outside of your race because you're like, that partner fits a social platform that would garner me and us to have more success, right? And a lot of people feel that, okay, dating within your culture, which is already not glamorized, is it's not going to take you places that those other people who are glamorized and glorified will take you, right? So you fall like you get disenchanted with the fact of dating within your own ethnic background. Just because of that, you literally start to say things like, "Oh, they're not as attractive," and da 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 da. But you know, when you say things like that, you really talk about yourself, right? Because if you're going off of that, the Eurocentric standard of beauty is this, and it's not you either, right? So when you say disparaging things about the looks or the background of your ethnicity, you really are saying that I also do not fit in this standard of beauty, and I'm seeking to go out of it so that I can gain a more access to things, right? And it is a problem, and quite honestly, because fashion media, social media is so effective in the way that we think, in the way that we shop, in the way that we do interpret love. When you get that ingrained into somebody who is an adolescent, where their heads are like a sponge, you really start to look at your culture and be like, oh, like they're not as beautiful because you don't see them in the editorial. You don't see them praised like the other people. You don't see them on television being, glorified as the other. You know what I mean? So that's definitely one thing as to why people don't date within their own ethnicity. The next thing I thought about is stereotypes. Okay? There is obviously certain stereotypes that are placed upon every race. Growing up in Canada, in Calgary, where I currently reside, obviously when I was growing up, there were certain stereotypes about Black people. There still is, right? And one thing I want to say is that the stereotypes do not come from your own ethnic background. They're usually always pushed on you and forced upon you by another ethnic background saying that about you. So I just want to get that clear, because a lot of times we think that it's coming from within, but we just further perpetuate it because we often don't stop it, because we're like, okay, yeah, we can see that within our own culture, right? So every culture, every ethnic background has a lot of stereotypes, and the reason why people oftentimes don't want to date within their own ethnic, background, and they prefer not to date within their own ethnicity is because they don't like those things about their background, those stereotypes about their background. They don't like that. They're like, oh, I hate how we're like this. I hate how we're like that. You know what I mean? And so that's another thing that happens often. I think it's crazy because, for example, I'll give an example because I'm Black, right? Growing up, one of the stereotypes that was placed on me, not by me, but by other ethnic backgrounds, growing up as a kid, was that, okay, black people steal, kill, and murder. Like that's what we do. You know what I mean? Now, when you have something like that placed on you, you feel as though that, like, okay, I don't want to date within my own ethnicity because that's what they represent, and I don't like that thing. And it doesn't even have to be that drastic. It can be like Black people love fried chicken and act out and are more boisterous with their laughs and are more charismatic. That could be something that's a stereotype that is on you. And here's the thing, not all the stereotypes are bad. So, you know what I mean? Certain kind of things make us who we are, right? Certain kind of cultures act in a certain kind of way, and that's just who we are, right? But it can be even as little as that makes you not want to date within your own ethnic background, because you see that as a deterrent because other people see it as a deterrent. Other people see it as an issue, so you see it as an issue. And so you don't want to be lumped up with the people who do that, right? So that's another reason as to why people don't date within their own ethnicity, or choose to say that they prefer not to. And, the other thing I was thinking about is that it could be trauma-induced. it can be trauma induced. I can't speak particularly to it because I haven't gone through any kind of trauma like that. But it can be, sexual and verbal trauma. Because, like, for example, say if the form of love that you've always known comes within you've seen it within your own ethnicity, right? And now you're being abused by people who are in your own ethnicity who say that they love you, or who say that they are your protectors and everything like that. If you went through something like that, that would make you not want to then date within your own culture, or date within your own background, because you're like, whoa, like, I don't want to go back to that place, because you feel as though that every person within that ethnicity is going to be just like that experience that left you with this trauma, right? And it doesn't have to go to a whole sexual extreme. It can be bullying that goes on within your own cultural background. It can be that, right? And so that's what turns you off and makes you prefer not to date within your own culture. I say all these things to not give a easy go pass to all those people who say that. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm merely saying that, you know what, I understand maybe why you might be thinking that, but it is very detrimental when you openly say those kind of things. You don't sound smart at all when you say that you're saying that you can't find beauty at all whatsoever within your own cultural heritage, within your own color, within your own ethnicity. You can't find no beauty. You don't find no endearing qualities. You don't find any solace and any beauty and within. It doesn't make any sense, because what you're really doing is glorifying another and putting down yours. And that's what I have an issue with it, because when you really get down to the root of it, it turns out to be that it's a self-hate thing. It's a self-hate. And when you get down to the root of it and you start to talk to those people about, okay, well, why wouldn't you date within your own ethnic background? Why would you prefer only to date people who weren't, for example, black, and you're black? Why would you say that? Oh, because, I find that they're always like this and like that. And so blah, 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 blah. And this, I don't really like how we're like this. And I find that dating, within that cultural group over here, I don't have to put up with that. And when you're getting down to the ruta and the tuta as to why people prefer not to date within their own ethnicity, it goes right back into the fact that it's self-hate. It's self-hate. It's 100% self-hate. You cut off your nose to spite your face. Like, every single time you say certain kind of things like that, like, I would implore you that, like, if you have that type of, feeling inside your head, get to the root cause of why you feel that way and realize, okay, you know what? It's because, it was because I went through something traumatic. That's as to why I feel that way. Okay? And heal that so that, guess what? You can start to really fully open up and broaden up the highways of people that could be coming to you that were not being able to come to you before because you put up so many walls. You know what I mean? Like, I would definitely implore you to sit up there and do that, because that's an easy cop out to sit up there and say, oh, I just don't like to date because blah, blah, blah. That's a complete cop out. And I think it's irresponsible when you give that power to another, cultural group by saying that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for the last couple of years, like, I've been seeing so many things in social media, and it really, really irks me when I see Black men say that they don't date, Black women. And the even more disgusting thing that they say is that, oh, I don't want to date her because she's too dark, or this and this and that. It is so disgusting. It is so it is so irresponsible when you say that, because then you're really basically saying, so your mother's not beautiful, your sister's not beautiful, your grandma's not beautiful. That's what you're really kind of saying when you say those kind of things. You know what I mean? Like, and vice versa. It goes for the black women saying the exact same things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm using that as an example, but you know, when you say those things, like, you give ammo to all those other people or races who are like, yeah, that's exactly why I don't date them. You know what I mean? And that's a further perpetuation of the big R, racism, honey, and self-hate. Basically, like, self-hate, like, honey, like, self-hate is racism. Like, it's racism within your own, within yourself, within your cultural background. That, like, that's what self-hate is. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like, cut it out. You know what I mean? Like, open up your horizons, broaden your horizons, and stop saying things like that. You know what I mean? I know this is going to be a polarizing video. People are going to have many views about it. But that's where I just stand with it. You know what I mean? And I'm not coming down off my soapbox for anybody. And another thing, I will not step off my chariot to throw tomatoes with you, darling. I will not. But yeah, thanks for tuning in today, you guys. Was a really cool video. And so yeah, just continue to tune in. Obviously, if you have not subscribed as yet, you need to do that. I don't even know why we got to this point of the video and you're not even subscribing. Hit the button, click the bell, and follow me on my social media, on all the other platforms, my Twitter, Lord Dion, my Instagram, Lord Dion, my TikTok, Lord Dion. Follow me on all my socials, and so that we can create a community. You know what I mean? I want to have some fans now. That's what I'm trying to do. Trying to have fans, trying to have more fans than only fans, okay? So I will see you next time, but continue to come back here for great content. Bye.